Hey, what's happening, guys? Mike from Metacomics here with another episode of Digging Deeper, a show where we take a closer look at some of the themes in comic books and how they affect our lives and culture. Today we're going to be talking about Planet Hulk and the idea of showing mercy and forgiveness to those who seem to deserve it the least. Monsters. Now, in discussing this topic in reality, I'm not talking about strange creatures that live under your bed and eat your socks, though I guess if you happen to have one of those, you can still practice principles of forgiveness and mercy, but what we're really going to be talking about is forgiving those who have hurt us and carried out despicable acts against humanity. Let's get started. In Planet Hulk number 2, an alternate reality version of Steve Rogers encounters Doc Green torturing a monster for the sheer fun of it instead of putting it out of its misery, something that really disturbs Rogers. Steve goes on to kill the creature and end its suffering at the hands of the cruel Doc Green. As you might imagine, this did not sit well with the big-brain Jade Giant, who says Steve's act of mercy ruined his fun, to which Rogers replied, "Even monsters deserve mercy." The moment I read that one sentence, my mind was completely and totally blown. In fact, I had to read the statement a few more times to truly feel the impact of what Rogers was really saying, and the more I reflected on it, the more it sunk into my heart. Even a monster, something despicable, dangerous, that desires to do me harm, or that may have already done me harm, deserves mercy? Whoa. For many of us, the way we show mercy to the monsters in our lives is through the act of forgiveness. We recently saw a perfect example of what giving mercy, forgiveness, and grace to monsters looks like during the horrific, hate-inspired shooting at a church in Charleston, South Carolina. Racist Dylan Roof entered a Bible study in a predominantly black church where he shot and killed 9 innocent people. Individuals with families and friends who love them deeply and will now and forever be deprived of the joy they once had from being with the ones they loved. Children had parents stolen from them, and a city was stripped of the blessings that poured through the church's pastor, who was a pillar of the community. Roof was entirely motivated by his hatred of African Americans and hoped his diabolical actions would inspire a race war. It's hard to imagine a more fitting example of what a real-life monster looks like, and given the fact he murdered 9 innocent people in cold blood, those who were victimized by his actions would be totally justified in being angry, bitter, and desiring all sorts of bad things to happen to him, to want revenge. After all, isn't that exactly what a monster deserves? Yet that's not what happened, at least for a good portion of those who were touched by this horrible tragedy. 2 young teenagers who lost their mother in the shooting actually said they forgave Roof for what he did. Many in the community prayed for him and extended grace and mercy, joining together, both black and white, to lean on each other in a time of suffering. Rather than wishing this guy harm for the evil act he carried out against their loved ones, they extended mercy and forgave him, freeing themselves from the heavy self-destructive burden that comes from bitterness and anger. It was truly an amazing sight to see, and is a true picture of the greatness humanity can aspire to and actually reach when we all come together. Now, just to be clear, forgiving the monsters in our lives doesn't mean they don't pay for their crimes, especially if it's something horrible and ugly like the shooting in Charleston. We might forgive those who hurt us, but it doesn't mean we continue in a relationship with that person or simply forget what they've done. It just means we refuse to allow their actions to have power over us and dictate our reactions. Dylan Roof totally deserves to be punished to the fullest extent of the law for what he did. But, on a personal level, those affected by his actions took the high road and didn't allow what was done to destroy their souls or cause them to compromise on their beliefs. I then thought about the people in my life who wronged me, my personal monsters, and realized I still carry around a lot of baggage from those in my past who weren't exactly my biggest fans. My reflections made me realize it's time to let it go, to forgive those who have said hurtful things or who might have betrayed my trust, to set myself free from the baggage and to wish well individuals I might once have considered monsters or enemies. I was also struck with another thought, and this one cut me to the bone. To someone somewhere out there, I was the monster. I was the one who did the hurting. It was a humbling thought, to say the least. All I can do is hope those whom I have hurt over the years can find the grace in their hearts to forgive me for the foolish words I've spoken to them. I've been forgiven by some that I've wronged, and it's a powerful feeling, especially when you recognize your own screw-up. My hope is that Steve Rogers' little pearl of wisdom in this issue of Planet Hulk will strike you the same way it did me, and make you examine your heart to see where you're holding on to hurt that needs to be forgiven, monsters that need to be shown mercy, and who in your life you have wronged so that you maybe get an opportunity to right that wrong. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Digging Deeper. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to check out the previous installments in the series, thumbs up the video, and share it with friends. Alright guys, that's all I got for this one. I will see you next time.